नित्यानन्देश्वर समारम्भाम् नित्यानन्देश्वरि मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, samajis, satsangis sitting with us around the world at this moment in so many places through Nityananda TV, Sadhana TV and Lotus News channel. इस समय हमारे साथ उपस्थित सभी दर्शकों और भक्तों का मैं प्रेम एवं आशीर्वाद सहित स्वागत करता हूँ. Today I will continue to answer your questions in the Nitya Satsang. Imbibe these tattvas, these principles as satyas.
The first question today is from Inner Awakening ID number 3, Chellaya, who saying, Swamiji, you said a person passes away and the being immediately takes another body. But here we do prayers every year for that being. The being will be celebrating his or her birthday. How will it help by we doing the prayers over his death simultaneously?
Chellaya, it's a science, an important question. Because this belief, or rather I can say this experience, makes us the real mystics. Please understand, only when you go beyond do's and don'ts, you become a religion. Till then, you are only a social cult. Only when you go beyond life and death, reveal the mysteries of life and death, you become religion. In that way, I feel blessed I am born in a religion. And I feel double blessed, more blessed, and I also discovered my religion. He's asking a question. You said a person passes away, the being immediately takes another body, but here we do prayers every year for that being. That being will be celebrating his or her birthday. How will it help by we doing prayers over his death simultaneously? First understand, all the last rites you do and the celebrations you do, prayers you do, everything is not for that soul. It is for your own completion with that soul. You carry a lot of incompletions with that being who left. So you need to do completion again and again with that being. It's a time you sit and do completion with that being. That is the essence. ध्यान से सुनिए. You doing completion with that being, for that being. The purpose of Shraddha, last rites, Pindadarpana, everything is for you to complete with that truth, with that being, with that person who left the body. So understand, people ask me, Swamiji, should I do Shraddha, Pindadarpana and all regularly? I tell you, do it. More than it helps your father or the person who left the body, it will help you. It will help you. you will be out of incompletions. The incompletions you carry with your parents is the Pitru dosha. Understand, the incompletions you carry inside you with the parents is Pitru dosha. The incompletions you carry about the fear of snakes and reptiles is Naga dosha. The incompletions you carry with the elders, Pitrus, is Pitru dosha. Getting it? So, the person who leaves the body immediately takes another one body. Whatever you give, Shraddha, Pindadarpana, does not reach him. So understand, but it completes you. Next question.
So we also have another related question from a devotee who is asking, what is the significance of doing Pinda Darpana through an incarnation? How does the Maheshwara Puja help release Pitru doshas, and how does it help me and the departed soul?
Two things here you need to understand. The question, what is the significance of doing Pinda Darpana through an incarnation? How does the Maheshwara Puja help release Pitru doshas, and how does it help me and the departed soul? First thing, understand. Listen, an incarnation is the space of eternal completion, physically, mentally, spiritually, is the space of eternal completion. Offering Pinda through him means the Maheshwara Puja is literally completing with your Pitrus, because when you offer him, when he assumes or receives the Maheshwara Puja given by you, for those moments he is direct representative of the Pitrus. And see, in the completion process, you would have received the instruction, if you don't have your elders with whom you need to complete are alive, if they passed away, if they are left, they are no more, ask some volunteer to sit and talk to him and complete. How many of you did that? Exactly the same thing. I myself sit with you and help you to complete with your Pitrus is Maheshwara Puja. Nothing else, that's all. I myself sit with you, not only the completion of emotional words and everything. Anything else you have not offered to them. When they were alive, you treated them in some wrong way, incompletions. You didn't give food, medicine. You have a duty. Each human being has a duty to complete with all the five. Your Pitrus, elders, and family deity, family guru, and the parents who are alive, nature which is around you, and your Sadguru. All of you are expected to complete with all of them. So if somebody has left the body in this group and you have some incompletions with them, as a prayaschitta, if you did not give them food properly, but you swindled their property after they are died, after they are dead, you did not take care of them when they were alive, but you inherited huge wealth after they left. So if the incompletions are there with them, I myself sit and liberate you from those incompletions by accepting the food, and actually the soul which has left already, the food does not reach that soul, but the incompletion that soul carries with you, the soul will be liberated from it. Food itself does not reach, but the completion reaches that soul. All of you understand? See, it's like the incompletion you carry, you will be relieved from it, you become complete, and the incompletion that being carries, because of your incompletions, that being will be relieved. It's like you would have already taken the next birth. Suddenly you will see for no reason, he feels relieved from his karmas and he starts progressing in his journey wherever he need to progress. So it is like completing the completions in both the ends is the job of an incarnation when he accepts Maheshwara Puja. It is like when you sit and do Shraddha or Pindadarpana on your own, the responsibility is with you. When I sit and receive the Maheshwara Puja, the responsibility of completing you and completing them is mine and the sannyasis who sit and eat with me. So naturally it is my sannyasis, so that responsibility also finally falls only on my head. So Maheshwara Puja is method to complete with you and with that soul who departed from your life. And once you offer Maheshwara Puja, after that you may not need to do Shraddha. Once the Maheshwara Puja is done, eternally the completion happens. After that, you may not need to do Shraddha. Shraddha is more like you sitting and doing completion with your efforts. Maheshwara Puja is like making the completion happen in both the ends. Maheshwara Puja is done more as a prayaschitta. If you have done something really wrong, like not caring or not supporting, not taking care, and now you feel you need to complete with that being, then Maheshwara Puja is done. Otherwise, Shraddha itself is enough. If you had a very good relationship when they were alive, and you feel you don't carry big incompletions, other than small emotional blockages, then Shraddha itself leads you to completion. But completing with the people, even who left the body in your life, is very important for complete completion. एक अवतार पुरुष के माध्यम से पिंड को अर्पण करना ही पितृओं के साथ पूर्णत्ना करना है। आप भी पूर्ण होते हैं और वो आत्मा को भी अपूर्णत्व से बाहर आ जाती है। श्राद्ध में पूर्णत्व का उत्तरदायित्व आपका है। जब एक अवतार पुरुष आपके पूर्वजों का पिंड स्वीकार करते हैं, वे आप और आपके पूर्वजों को पूर्ण करने का उत्तरदायित्व मेरा है। Next question.
The next question is from Inner Awakening ID number 224, Sanjaya Chari, who's asking, could you please explain how the law of cause and effect works?
Sanjaya Chari, please be seated. It's a beautiful question. I'm so happy today all best questions are coming up. Could you explain how the law of cause and effect works? I'll answer layer by layer. If you don't know the connection between cause and effect and confused, you are in incompletion, utter unconsciousness. If you know the connection between cause and effect, you are in completion. If you don't know the connection between cause and effect, but you are in utter clarity, you are in the space of superconsciousness, what happens is called miracles. Listen, I'll repeat. If you don't know the connection between cause and effect, you are in utter confusion, you are in unconsciousness. What happens is called accident. If you know the connection between the cause and effect, you are in completion, means you are complete. What happens is life. If you don't know the connection between cause and effect, but you are in utter clarity, you are in superconsciousness, what happens is called miracles. Listen. In the unconscious level, you will not know the connection between cause and effect. In conscious level, you will know. Again, in superconscious level, you will not know the cause and effect. That is why I say, neither for the Chandalas nor for the enlightened beings, law of cause and effect makes no sense. Understand? Chandalas, the cause and effect, they will not know the connection. Unconscious criminals, they do not know the cause and effect connection. If somebody has done 200 murders, he will not know due to which murder he is hanged. He do not know which action caused which effect. Neither Chandala nor enlightened beings are bound by the law of cause and effect. Because Chandala has too much cause and too much effect. Enlightened being has no cause and no effect. I will now explain the whole science. Listen, it's my very favorite subject, this reincarnation theory, law of karma. Recently there was an article, very beautiful article in the internet I read, a deep study. The study declares 87% of Americans are Hindus. I was shocked. How come? The study narrates the major 10 beliefs of Hinduism. They took it, which is unique to Hinduism. Dharma-based religions. You see, in the world, broadly the religions are categorized into two categories, Abrahamic religions and Dharma-based religions. Christianity, Judaism and Islam, and the sects from those religions are called Abrahamic religions. And Vedic tradition, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and the cults and sects came out of these traditions are called Dharma-based religions. So there are some unique concepts which belongs to only Vedic tradition. 10 10 concepts they took. Reincarnation theory, theory of karma, like these 10 concepts they took. And they have done a survey with something like a 7 lakh people, means a thorough survey. 7 lakh is not a small number, especially in US. In India, even for our functions in Tiruvannamalai, Pauranami, we get 7 lakh people. And 2 lakh people come inside our ashram and eat. But in US, 7 lakh people is a really big number. I read the article they have done, they said, they thoroughly narrated how they have done the research and all that. After this thorough research, they asked people, how many of them believe in these 10 concepts? Because all 10 are unique to Hinduism and completely contrary to Abrahamic religions. For example, believing in many births is purely Hindu, Vedic tradition, Dharma-based religion. Of course, Buddhism borrowed the concept of reincarnation from Vedic tradition. Buddhism is nothing but one sampradaya of Hindu tradition, because Buddha is worshipped as one of the incarnations of Hindu traditions. Some of the Buddhists are trying to scream, no, we are a separate religion. It is like after I leave the body, after 500 years, few of my unconscious followers will scream, Nityananda is a separate religion. That does not make Nityananda as separate religion. Now itself I am declaring very clearly, I will always be part of Hinduism. I am from, for, be, in, with, will be in Hinduism. So, just because of few unconscious followers of Buddhists or who claim the so-called followers of Buddha's shout that they are separate religion, they don't become separate religion. It's one part of Hinduism. Now you need to understand, the survey report is shocking. 87% of Americans believe in the top 10 truths of Hindu tradition. And next is the shocking. 1/4 of Americans do some form of Hindu spiritual practice every day. Please understand, 25% of Americans do some form of Hindu practice, like a meditation or yoga or something which they learned from Hindu source. Practice every day. I tell you, not for any pride or anything, I am telling you very straightforward. The countries, the civilizations, the societies which started thinking they can be satisfied only with Hindu tradition. The truths, because these truths only directly satisfies the search, the great seeking of an individual. Still discussion is going on in our organization think tank group. How can Hinduism be branded best internationally? Because we need to have one word to tell the essence of Hinduism. Neither my think tank is able to come up a branding word for Hinduism nor for me, because both are too vast. Understand, This law of cause and effect is one of the important theory in which 87% of Americans believe. I can also give you the reference of that article. It's on the internet, maybe I'll search it and get back to you guys, or if you guys search, you'll get it now. Let me define now cause and effect. I've introduced this theory now. Listen. Cause is an action or a word or a deed or a thought creates certain incompletion in you and in others, pushes you to reap the fruits of incompletions in your life is cause. Listen. Thought or a word or an action happens in you, pushes you to incompletion and makes you experience incompletion with others and drives you towards completion. Effect. I am defining effect now. Effect is the incompletion multiplying continuously instead of moving towards completion is effect. I am defining cause and effect in the context of completion and incompletion because you are going through it. I will define in other sense, in a different context. I define the cause and effect in the context of completion. Completion is stopping the effect immediately and rewinding the effect towards the cause and merging effect into the cause is completion. Stopping the effect immediately and rewinding it back to the cause and effect merging into the cause is completion. Understand? I'll define the cause and effect in the another context. Anything which has not made its effect completely in you is cause. Anything which has made its effect completely, please listen, anything which has not made its effect completely in you is cause. Any cause which has made its completion on you is effect. Get it. Get it. If you have taken the Haritaki yesterday night, you can get it now, today morning. Listen. Anything which has not caused the complete effect in you is cause. I am redefining from different contexts. One more context. Please listen. Any pattern which you have not completed. As long as it remains as a pattern in you, it is called cause. When it is expressing itself into the action, it is called effect. I have defined in 3 contexts. I am going to the 4th context. I am defining this cause and effect in different ways. Whichever clicks you, take it and start working with it. Cause is which happens in your mamakara, effect is which happens outside you. You need to know it is always from inside to outside. Some more definitions of cause and effect. I do not want to say whatever you give comes back to you. No. How you cause, that same way only it comes back to you. Listen. If you cause something out of completion, what you get back will be miracle. If you cause even the great charitable act out of incompletion, what you get back may be hell. Not maybe, will be. Even the so-called moral, good, right acts caused out of incompletion will have only bad effect, not the desired effect. Karna's charity was not out of completion. Listen. It is out of a deep incompletion that he is not respected. What's the best way to receive the respect? What is Karna's mamakara? I am a failure, not respected anywhere I go. Because he did not know his parents' name. He did not know his origins. From the young age he was not respected. So his mamakara was, I am not respected. So he has to explode with ahankara. I have to be respected. I am respectable. So what is the best way? Do charity. Even his charity was from incompletion. That is why his death itself is because of his charity. The character of giving finally caused death to him. See, in every level, Indra comes and takes away his protection shield and the Karna. Kavacha and Kundala were taken away by Indra. Why he gave? To Indra I am giving charity. Not out of completion, but out of incompletion. Then Kundi comes and takes the boon. You will not send an Ahastra second time on Arjuna. He says, all right. To the Rajamata I am giving a boon. He gives. Then she asks, you will not kill anybody other than Arjuna. He says, all right. To Rajamata I am giving the boon. Otherwise, he would have killed Bhima at one time. The whole war would have ended. Because all 5 Panchapandavas took the vow, even if one dies, all the other 5 will walk into the fire. The fool. Even charity, giving boon out of incompletion, is dangerous. Then end of the life is charity. All that good karma comes and stands as a shield and protects him. Again Krishna comes and asks him to give all the good effects of that charity. See, you might have done the charity out of incompletion, but the people who received are complete, so their blessings are all there. Those blessings are standing and protecting him. The tadastu of all the people who received was standing and protecting him. Again this fool, knowing that Krishna is standing in front of him and asking, says, I am giving even to Krishna. Out of incompletion he gave that also away. Even the great acts like a charity done out of incompletion leads only to the wrong effect. Finally he is dead. Same way, even the sacrifice, tapas. See the Ravana's tapas? What a tapas! But just with one incompletion. Women don't accept me. From the young age, he had the deep pattern. Women don't accept me. Because one girl curses him, one Brahmin kid, he tries to force himself on her, she curses him. If you touch any woman without their permission, all your head will burst, you will die. Just that out of that one pattern, he wants to be so powerful that all the women are around him. Just out of that one incompletion, he did all the great acts like a tapas and everything. Finally, even those powers, tapas, everything, only led to his destruction. Out of incompletion, anything you cause, you will have very serious wrong effects. Out of completion, anything you cause will have only effect of completion. So the space you are in is more important for understanding law of cause and effect. Please understand. People ask me again and again, why bad people are happy, good people are suffering. The so-called good people may not be in completion when they do certain acts. From outside it may look like good. Any receiver, Karna will look as a great charitable person. Only Karna knows he does it out of incompletion. Or even he may not know, he would have forgotten. Out of incompletion, even if you do good act, it comes back as bad effects. From the space of completion, anything you do comes back to you as completion. So in the law of cause and effect, the important thing you need to do and you need to learn is the space from which the cause is caused. Because if you are not be and cause, you will be causing the effects for which you can't answer with because. Let your being be in completion and cause. effect will be completion. If your being is not in completion and it causes, the effects will be such you will not be able to give any answer. If somebody asks why, you won't be able to say because. No. Be in completion so that you are causing the right effect. Be cause in completion. Be in completion and cause. Next question
is from Inner Awakening ID number 199. Rohit Mohavir, who's asking, what is the significance of the tigers that you, Swamiji, are surrounded by?
Oh,
On the lions.
Rohit Mohavir, it's not tiger, it's lion. This is called traditional throne, the Simhasana. Means, listen, inside the space you carry is one lion. The outside life you make it happen, you cause is another one lion. The person who has conquered both under his control sits on Simhasana. In the tradition, the kings who mastered their inner space and outer space, and enlightened beings who caused inner space and outer space, who have mastered the inner space and outer space, both king and enlightened masters, both sit on Simhasana, the seat of lions in Indian tradition. So it is also called Vyasapita, from where the knowledge is radiated. It's also called Vyasapita, from where knowledge is radiated. That is why the symbolic lions are kept next to the seat. Next question.
The next question is from ID number 137, Kishore Gadiyar, who's asking Nityanandam, my question is about the importance of sadhana. What are the types of sadhana? Without sadhana, can anybody get enlightenment?
137, Kishore Gadiyar, please be seated. His question is, Swamiji, my question is importance of sadhana. What are types of sadhana? First thing, anything which moves you towards completion is sadhana. You are asking, without sadhana, what are the types of sadhana? There are millions of types of sadhana. Anything can become sadhana if you are doing it for achieving completion. Even if you take a broomstick and go on sweeping this hall, saying that till I become complete, I will continue to sweep, that will become sadhana. Anything can become, listen. What is the importance of sadhana? Anything which leads you to sadhana, anything which leads you to completion is sadhana, and anything you do with the purpose of completion is sadhana, and without the action to achieve completion, you can neither achieve completion nor achieve enlightenment. What is the importance of sadhana? What are the types of sadhana? Without sadhana, can anybody get enlightenment? As I said, any action you perform is sadhana if it is towards completion. And only with completion you can achieve enlightenment. You are asking what are the types of sadhana. Anything you do to achieve completion is sadhana. If you just sit and start blowing your nose, saying that till completion I am going to do this, that is sadhana. If you sit and start talking to yourself and declare till completion I am going to do this, that is sadhana. If you sit and go on pouring water on one stone and say till completion I am going to do this, that is sadhana. Anything you do towards completion is sadhana. जो भी आपको पूर्णत्व की ओर ले जाता है वो साधना है. केवल पूर्णत्व के द्वारा ही जीवन मुक्ति संभव है. Next question.
The next question is from Inner Awakening ID number 96, Alec, who's asking, Dear Swamiji, how can integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching lead to extraordinary powers like materialization, teleportation and leaving the body in Sajiva Samadhi?
Alec, yes. It's a nice question. He's asking, how can integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching lead to extraordinary powers like materialization, teleportation and leaving the body in Sajiva Samadhi? No, not even Sajiva Samadhi, Nirbija Samadhi. The highest Samadhi you can achieve with these four tattvas. Understand? What is all these powers? It is nothing but when you are in integrity with the cosmos, cosmos just responds to whatever you think. Energy responds to matter. What is authenticity? Please understand. Authenticity, decision has to come from your very soul. Your soul has to awaken. Only then you can start living authenticity. Till then, you may be practicing little authenticity in your yoga, or little authenticity in your waking hours, little nirahara. No, that's not completely authentic. When your soul wakes up, only then you become completely authentically authentic. So, when you start practicing authenticity, your soul wakes up. Your being wakes up. Getting it? When you practice integrity with integrity, authenticity with authenticity, you will simply have the powers like materialization, teleportation and Vaksiddhi. See, when you are so integrated with your words just moves the world. Your words can simply move the world. When you are completely authentic, simply your soul can express anything, because energy or matter both listens to your soul. Matter listens to energy. Leaving the body in Sajiva Samadhi means nothing but you can even, Sajiva is one type of Samadhi. You can call it living enlightenment. But I tell you, Nirbija Samadhi means Samadhi of no seed. By the four tattvas, when you live these four principles, or even while you are alive, you become completely the spiritual energy. There is no individual private corner in your inner space for you. It's purely only integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching living. No personal desires. No personal desires. No personal ideas. no personal movements, lives. So understand, integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching lead to extraordinary powers like materialization, teleportation and leaving the body in Sajiva Samadhi. Practice, you will understand how directly, immediately it leads you to Sajiva Samadhi. Authenticity is nothing but you remembering all powers are at your disposal. You can just possess, express any power you want. Today, I have a webinar specially to make people understand in the evening how extraordinary powers can be expressed through their integrity, authenticity, responsibility and enriching. Self-transformation is the ultimate extraordinary power. How it can be expressed? Experiencing the peak possibility of your life. Tonight, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we have an interesting webinar in Nityananda TV. Experience the peak possibility of your life. So, essence of today's satsang. Understand the principles of cause and effect. Realize the 4 tattvas can create extraordinary powers in you. Enjoy your life by living these 4 great principles as life. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share and explode in eternal bliss. Nityananda.
Nityananda Dhyanapitham, Nityananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nityananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.